Wow, okay, I guess they're actually going to do it. After half a decade of rare bipartisan consensus among U.S. politicians, plus plenty of lobbying from companies like Meta, TikTok is officially on the chopping block after both houses of Congress passed a bill that on Wednesday morning, Grandpa Joe leapt out of bed to sign.
Oh, Charlie's got a golden ticket, I hear.
This was his golden ticket.
Yes.
It's been a long, weird saga involving lots of insinuation that Gen Z's favorite video platform is a weapon of the evil Chinese Communist Party deployed upon unsuspecting Americans to do things.
Yeah.
But without any real proof of anything after all these years, aside from the kind of data mining that every other tech company does with the full blessing of the US government. One thing TikTok is 100% guilty of, though, is entering the US social app marketplace and beating US companies at their own game. And for that, we sentence you to death.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been really great if all this time and energy and hysteria devoted to TikTok by our nation's lawmakers could have been directed at, I don't know, establishing actual data privacy laws that apply to not just TikTok, but every app in our phones that are spying on us with impunity. But that's a lot less exciting than acting out a kayfabe Cold War with an adversary we've been deeply financially intertwined with for decades.
Yeah, I hate China so much. That's why all of my manufacturing is there.
Yeah.
We're on the brink of World War III, folks. Us and China are entirely financially dependent on each other. But other than that, this is the exact same thing as the US and the Soviet Union in the 1970s.
Well, it's very silly, and it's one of the only things that both of our political parties agree on. China is simply not allowed to be better than us at capitalism.
It ain't right.
Well, with the latest on where we're at with all of this, here's the Washington Post.
Congress late Tuesday passed legislation to ban or force a sale of TikTok, delivering a historic rebuke of the video sharing platform's Chinese ownership after years of failed attempts to tackle the app's alleged national security risks. The Senate approved the measure 79-18 as part of a sprawling package offering aid to Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, sending the proposal to President Biden's desk, with the House having passed it Saturday. Biden issued a statement minutes after the Senate vote saying he plans to sign the bill into law on Wednesday, which he did. Once signed, the provision will give TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, roughly 9 months to sell the wildly popular app or face a national ban, a deadline the president could extend by 90 days.
The measure, which has broad bipartisan support, poses the most significant threat yet to the app's operations in the United States, where it has more than 170 million users and has become an economic and cultural powerhouse. Lawmakers pushing for the restriction have cited concerns that the company's ownership structure could allow the Chinese government to gain access to Americans' data, claims that TikTok disputes. TikTok is expected to challenge the measure, setting up a high-stakes and potentially lengthy legal battle that will test the company's argument that any such law would violate the free speech rights of millions. But its frenzied efforts to derail the proposal, including nudging users to register complaints with their congressional representatives and running ads touting TikTok's data security efforts just days out from the final vote, have failed to dissuade lawmakers. Rare and, in some ways, suspicious bipartisan support.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to base your opinion, what you think Americans care about based on what Congress seems to care about, you would think that the general public has had it with this TikTok menace. Yeah. But no, it doesn't really line up with what the average Joe and Jill feels about this issue
also,
at all.
Just, I mean, again, I hate to keep bringing it up, but like any American social media platform knows infinitely more about you than, or at least as much as TikTok, if not more.
Right.
Which is, yes, should obviously have regulations in place.
And if you're worried about the Chinese government getting access to that data, getting rid of TikTok isn't going to do that.
No,
because they could just buy the fucking data from the other companies that are collecting the data.
Yes.
God damn it.
Very easily go step aside that and buy any of your data down to like the most minuscule GPS coordinates for pennies on the dollar from data brokers who collect them from you just browsing and doing normal things. It's
so
insane.
maddening.
You have a chance to stop all of this, or at least tamp down on it, and instead you're doing something that is going to have almost zero effect when it comes down to it.
Well, it makes us feel good. Not us, but them, Congress. It makes them feel good. They're really getting one over on those damn Chinese. Yeah. Those sneaky red Chinese.
So, I mean, yes, that's all what happened, but it doesn't mean that TikTok is banned yet, and it doesn't mean it necessarily will be banned. Now, it certainly could be if ByteDance doesn't find a US-based buyer or simply refuses to sell. In the meantime, they're definitely going to be using the courts to try to overturn this as unconstitutional. They've got 9 to 12 months before the ban hammer really comes down, and it will be very interesting to see who is even willing to pony up the roughly $50 billion that this very popular app is worth. And so far, likely contenders include former Activision CEO Bobby Kotick. I mean, come on! Also, former Trump Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin.
Boo!
It couldn't be even more blatant than the people that are lining up to take over.
I mean, he's actually diverging with Trump on this issue because Trump is now anti-banning TikTok.
Yeah, well...
But he's also just doing that to separate himself from Biden.
Also, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, which, fuck that guy. Also, Larry Ellison of Oracle, who owns an entire Hawaiian island.
He does. God knows what he gets up to over
there. Not to this extreme level, but I would almost trust anyone else except for these people with the data of millions of Americans.
Yeah, I would trust the literal Chinese Communist Party with my data more than I trust any of these fuckers.
Yes, the personal data of 170 million Americans in the hands of a Canadian named Mr. Wonderful? I don't think so.
Is he Mr. Wonderful?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't watch the show. I know there's Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful.
That's him.
Who's the third? Who's the third Mike?
Mike. There's there's Robert O'Leary. There's
is he related to Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful?
Maybe I'm getting his name wrong. There's Barbara Corcoran.
Barbara Corcoran.
And then there's the lady from QVC. And then there's
how many sharks are there?
There's so many sharks.
Oh my god.
There's a bunch, and then they have guest sharks all the time.
And then over in England they got Lord Sugar.
Yes. Well, either way, having Steve Mnuchin in charge of this, or Bobby Kotick, who everyone trusts because of his very prestigious time in the video game industry, just all bad options. None of these people have any experience in social media or streaming video, and it's unclear if any potential sale would actually include the recommendation algorithm, which is the whole reason that TikTok is successful.
Yeah, I'm unclear on that, but yeah, it's just, even if this gets sold, that is still probably kind of the end of TikTok as you know it.
What this actually does is it highly, highly benefits and boosts Meta. That's all it is. Because Reels is a TikTok clone, which everything is already being reposted on anyway. It was being reposted on anyway before, but in the past couple of months, it's really kicked up because TikTok creators are saying, well, I need to diversify. So this only really helps to serve Mark Zuckerberg and Meta.
Yeah.
Because regardless of X creating a fucking TV app, which, great, now I can watch snuff films and porn on the big screen. Like, no one is doing it like Meta has already done. And they blatantly copy, and they have no scruples about it.
But yeah, very cool they're doing this in election year. There's like millions of people on TikTok who's like, that's their job.
Yeah.
Who fall into the age demographic that you would normally expect to turn out to vote for the Democratic candidate in an election. We'll see how that fucking goes.
Yeah,
Great job, Joe.
This bipartisan support is only going to lose voters on the side that...
No, it all comes down, like, it's dumb. People are dumb. Like, so many arguments I get into with liberals is like them getting mad that people are dumb. It's like, you just have to accept that people are dumb and work from there. Because yes, when something happens under a Democratic president, that's the guy that gets blamed for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where things are at now with TikTok. We now return you to our regularly scheduled programming of Elon Musk and AI news. Actually, wait, okay. Before we jump back into our usual routine, here's something fun. And by fun, I mean terrifying.
Oh.
Terrifying on multiple levels.
No!
Our primal fear of fire and our modern fear of robots have joined forces in a product called the Thermonator.
Well, you gotta invent it because the name's cool.
Thermonator.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a robot dog in the style of Boston Dynamics Spot Robot with a flamethrower mounted to its back. Specifically, it's an arc flamethrower from the company Throwflame, which shoots fire up to 30 feet and comes with built-in rail mounts like the kind on most modern rifles. They even advertise the ability to mount the flamethrower directly onto a firearm. So it's not really a big stretch to mount it onto a robot dog. Fuck it.
Okay, so what you're saying is this is a real flamethrower as opposed to the Elon Musk torch.
Yes. Yeah. No, this thing actually throws flames instead of just showing flames.
So if Throwflame sounds familiar, it's because we talked about them way back in 2019 when they released a drone with a flamethrower attached to it. And like that drone, this robot is perfectly legal to own anywhere in the country, except for Maryland, where you need a federal firearms license, and California, where the range gets capped at 10 feet. And this robot flamethrower can be yours for the low, low price of $9,420, which is scary cheap.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Especially in this economy.
Yeah, you look, stop. You're never going to save up enough to buy your first house.
Yeah.
So instead of just letting that money slowly add up in your bank account, why not pull out 10 G's, get yourself a product that's going to bring happiness and joy to your life and scare the shit out of all of your neighbors.
Well, make sure to keep an extra 10 grand in that bank account because you're going to need it for your outrageously high U.S. healthcare deductible once you set yourself on fire.
Always point the flames away from yourself.
Mm-hmm. Point the dog away.
Point the dog. Never look the dog in the eye.
No. But here's Gizmodo with more on this. The Thermonator, the product of Ohio flamethrower manufacturer Throwflame, is a 26-pound robotic quadruped that comes equipped with one of the company's characteristic arc flamethrowers mounted on its back. The bot can shoot fire in a 30-foot stream and comes with a built-in fuel tank powered by gasoline. The company says the robot also has an hour-long battery, a laser sight, and LiDAR mapping, and it can be remotely controlled via the company's app. Oh, so there you go. You just get behind a fireproof wall and you just... do literally whatever you want to, I guess.
Arson?
Well, there's not many other options.
Yeah, it's just not really a product. Like, listen, like just a flamethrower alone has pretty limited use cases.
Yeah.
There are legitimate use cases for flamethrowers, but they are limited. This is not something the average person will ever need at any point in their life. And that's just the flamethrower alone. You got a dog into the mix. And like, okay, who is this for? Other than people who want to do arson remotely.
Americans who collect various weapons of war.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe living in California my whole life has also given me a respect for fire that I think some parts of the rest of the country don't yet have.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Anyway, it continues. Throwflame claims that its product is good for wildfire control and prevention, agricultural management, ecological conservation, entertainment and SFX, and snow and ice removal, although it also seems like it would be especially good for committing mass arson. Thermonator is the first ever flamethrower-wielding robot dog. This quadruped is coupled with the arc flamethrower to deliver on-demand fire anywhere, the company's website excitedly says. Throwflame also provides buyers with free shipping, which is a nice thing to have when you're buying a fire-breathing robot.
Yeah. Well, if you're paying that much for it, it might as well walk to your door.
Yeah. Who knows? The way technology is moving, someday you might be able to own your very own Truckzilla.
Man, you probably legally could, honestly.
Yeah.
We don't
There's
have
no law saying I can't have a Truckzilla.
Which is how this came to be. But so my question is like, is the dog fireproof?
Well, it's shooting the flames away.
No, but what I'm saying is like, if you're using it for like controlled burns in fire-prone areas.
That is a good point, because like, you don't see a lot of people using the flamethrower in Helldivers, for example, because like,
sets everyone else
it's
on
a very good weapon, but it's very easy for yourself to step into your own flames, and then you got problems.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I think they don't care after it's sold. That's your business.
Yeah. This is America. Do with your flamethrowing robot what you please.
But yeah, cool. I mean, that's a thing that exists, and now we all have to deal with it.
That's a fear that I now have.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of flamethrowers, it's time for this week's Elon news. And this week, it's mostly about how dire things are starting to look at Tesla, the electric car company that made him the world's richest man. Though apparently he's currently ranked number 3 on Forbes' billionaire list, with Mark Zuckerberg hot on his tail, and dare I say, almost certainly going to overtake him after this TikTok ban plays itself out.
Yeah, funny how that works.
The reason Elon's not in the number one spot lately is that most of his wealth is tied up in Tesla stock, which for a long time was on a meteoric rise, but not so much these days. And a quarterly earnings call this week did not paint an optimistic picture for Tesla's future unless you're still high enough to believe that Elon, his promises are absolutely going to come true and on a timeline that you can set your watch to.
When Elon says something's going to happen, baby, it's happening, and it's happening quick. How he said
this earnings call was very interesting because it's like, yeah, the company is actually in a pretty hard spot right now. Arguably the hardest position we've ever been in. But have no fear, because
here's a bunch of promises.
Yes.
Here's a bunch of very vague promises.
And you can bet my dollars on it.
Bet you a signed dollar.
Yeah.
So yeah, year over year, Tesla's revenue fell 9% and its profits fell 55%, which are both bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason those numbers are so different is they've been cutting the prices of their cars to try and sell more of them, thus making less profit on each vehicle sold while also selling fewer vehicles. So basically, thanks to way more EV options from other car makers and also thanks to Elon Musk being so unlikable, Tesla's demand isn't growing like it used to. But not to worry, this is but a mere hiccup, just a slow period between two periods of massive growth. Just you wait, I promise. For starters, it's been in the works for a long time, but it's finally coming. An affordable Tesla for your average Joe. The actual price or any other details are a story for another day, I guess. And Musk even hedged the announcement by saying the car might not end up being as cheap as he wants, but it's coming in less than a year. Trust me, bro.
Okay.
This time next year, that car will, which I can't even give any details about, will exist. And you're going to look real silly for doubting it.
And everyone in the country is going to own one.
And everyone in the country is going to clap.
And they're all going to say, yes, Elon, we love you so much. And there's no reason why I wouldn't buy this car in particular because of anything else that you've done.
Every single person in the world is going to hand Elon a $20 bill. And he's going to be number one on the Forbes richest again.
Pre-order now, baby. You want to make sure you get it in time. And also, yeah, we're finally getting robo-taxis. Can you believe it? Wait, Tesla robo-taxis, where have we heard this before?
It seems familiar.
Oh, yeah. Back in 2019, when Musk said that there would be a nationwide Tesla robo-taxi network by 2020. I mean, well, yeah, we're still in the 2020s, so not technically a lie just yet. Also, one of his big proclamations back then was that while you weren't driving your Tesla...
Yeah, you could rent it out.
You would just...
Passive income.
You would leave, and then your car would drive away to... theoretically pick up people and be working all day long.
It's like you're like a landlord for cars. You're a car lord.
Yes, and then it would return whenever you needed it to, just filled with cash, making you just as rich as Elon and very cool.
That's right.
Which I'm assuming is still happening.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's part of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, get this: the Tesla humanoid robot. It's going on sale as soon as Christmas.
Wow.
Who's going to need a dog with a flamethrower on its back when you can have a literal Terminator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy that they did that so quickly. Huh.
I mean, companies like Boston Dynamics have been at work on humanoid industrial robots for decades with no sign of being ready for market. But magically, Tesla has managed to pull it off in just 2 years.
Yeah, that's the Elon difference.
From a guy in a morph suit to an anthropomorphic robot
that totally works.
Yeah. So yes, this is obviously very exciting news, and naturally it overshadowed any negativity from Tesla's actual profits and revenue and made Tesla's stock price jump 13% in after-hours trading. So buy the rumor, sell the news. Also, it has pretty much stabilized, but yes, it did have the coming back from a historic low.
Tesla's back, baby. Look at all these promises he just made.
Yeah.
I mean, please buy the stock.
Technically, that is what Tesla had been riding off of for years.
Yeah,
so, yes,
no, they're the most
empty promises.
They're the most valuable car company in the world, which has always been absurd.
Stop calling it a car company, Elliot. This is a tech company.
Yeah, he did clarify. He's like, we're not really a car company. We're an AI company.
And by the way, there's a hot new television app, a new streaming app.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, things are actually going great at Tesla. Do not believe your lying eyes. So great, in fact, that several high-ranking executives have recently decided that their work there is done. They've accomplished everything they needed to. Here's Fortune. Tesla's longtime vice president of investor relations, Martin Viecha, announced Tuesday that he would leave the electric car company after 7 years. His exit marks the third departure of a top executive from the challenged car maker in less than 2 weeks. Vieccia followed Tesla senior vice president Drew Baglino, who resigned from the company last week. Baglino was one of only 4 named executive officers at Tesla and led engineering and technology development for the car's batteries. Baglino had been with the company for 18 years and was well known to investors and analysts. In addition, Rohan Patel, the company's vice president of public policy and business development, said he would part ways with Tesla.
Always good when the...
Always a great sign.
That, but also the person from investor relations leaving.
This job was a lot more fun when the stock was just like constantly going up and investor relations was just like running around high-fiving everyone.
I'm sure that their job has not gotten easier. If you've seen how Devin Nunes has been acting in the past week or so, it's got to be a very stressful job. Devin Nunes, literally the customer service agent of Truth Social.
Listen, sir, I swear the stock price will go up.
It's those damn liberals that keep driving it down. We're on top.
We're going to talk to the SEC about making that price go higher.
So, but one thing that apparently didn't come up much on the earnings call was the giant stainless steel elephant in the room, the Cybertruck. And today we have another weekly dose of Cybertruck schadenfreude for you. First off, a fun ongoing pattern with Cybertruck owners has been filming themselves doing totally unremarkable and unimpressive truck stuff with their Cybertruck and then bragging about it on the internet. And this week we got a video posted by the Twitter account Tesla Owners Silicon Valley with the caption, "Cybertruck is savage on off-roading trails and handles the mud like a champ." And here comes the community notes, the one half-decent feature on Elon's own website with, "This is not off-roading because they are on a road," and a link to the Wikipedia article for road. Wow. Look at that.
I mean, dirt roads, especially when they're wet, not every car can do that, but also any car with all-wheel drive can do that very easily. This is only impressive if you've never driven anything resembling a truck in your life.
Yeah.
Wow. It drove in mud.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It drove in mud at 1 mile per hour. That's wild.
It's like going to the mountains when it's not icy enough that you have to put the chains on, but just icy enough that regular cars without 4-wheel drive have to put the chains on. And your buddy clicks the button and says, pretty nice,
yeah.
Huh?
Check this out.
We don't have to do anything except drive slow and cautiously.
Yes. And here's some more of our favorite source of comedy these days, Cybertruck Owners Forums, a gift that presumably will keep on giving for years to come. Here's a post on cybertruckownersclub.com titled, "The issues are piling up. I'm starting to get a little frustrated with the problems I'm having with the Cybertruck. Yes, I know this comes along with being one of the first ones off the production ramp, but the service response time is slowing down, probably because of the pedal issue taking precedent. It started with an imperfection on my windshield that caused there to be a long line on my line of sight. They replaced my windshield, but I think something happened to the top gear selector panel. It dropped down and won't stay back up. Next, my tailgate won't open. This happened once before, but I was able to keep trying and eventually it opened. This time, it's not working. Also, when I turn left or right, there are loud creaks coming from the bottom of the center console. I put foam underneath and this worked for a few days. Now it's even louder. I'm waiting to hear a response from the service center for a week now. Oh, and I got the rivet installed on my pedal at Cybertruck Takeover, and it does not look like it's installed in the proper place. The guy said they are all like this, but later at home, I saw that mine was the only one right on the edge. I've added this to my service ticket as well."
So you've installed foam to make the creaking stop, and that has voided your warranty.
Yeah, and his picture of the rivet, they totally fucked up. It's not even... It's on the edge of
that's what they were saying in the Verge article too, because they were showing the 30-second fix, and it's no, you have to actually adjust where you're putting it in at, and that takes a lot of time, and also they can get it wrong. So,
this one, it looks like they got it very wrong. Yeah. It looks like it's not going to fix shit.
And aside from also having the potential to break and have the issue happen again, it's also completely annoying mentally to know that it's fucked up.
But yeah, this guy's describing what it's like to own a car that is 20 years old.
Yes.
Not a car that is 2 months old. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Still the best car I've ever owned.
And also a $100,000 car.
Yeah, I just learned this week that all of Tesla's MSRP pricing does this thing that seems like it should totally be fucking illegal, where they're like, that includes estimated gas savings.
Yeah.
So it's just what they figure out, I guess, some number for what a person driving a gas car pays for gas in a certain period of time, I don't know, a year, and they just subtract that from all their prices and say that's what it costs, even though it fucking doesn't.
Yeah, and it's to a lesser extent all the tax breaks and stuff like that, which are great. But yes, the fact that it calculates your gas savings.
Yeah, no, that's not part of the fucking price.
Absurd, because
I know it's an electric car.
Yes.
That's the reason I want it. You can't do that.
Also,
how the fuck is that legal?
You are going to be paying for that electricity somehow.
Yeah,
so
no.
I know it's cheaper than gas.
It is, but
it's just not exactly as straightforward as you would hope that any large financial purchase would be.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to worry though, because OP, the original poster, came back later to let everyone know that he was able to resolve one of his issues. Update. With persistence, I got the tailgate to open. But now it randomly and repeatedly opens. I closed it, went inside the house, and then it opened. Did this twice. Closed it and watched from afar, and it did it again. Tried closing it, and it wouldn't stay shut. Something like this makes it not drivable. I can't have the tailgate doing this when I'm out and about. The service center said that I can bring it in and they can keep it until they get the parts. I feel like they are about to have my truck for a long time. Yeah, that's probably true.
I love that this car's been out for just a few months and like already there's this sense of like resignation among these people where like they're not even shocked that this is happening. They're just like, yeah, it happened to me.
It's gotta suck for
it's gonna be in the shop for a long time.
It's gotta suck for the Tesla shops too, because they're having to deal with these very angry people in their very expensive cars and they just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, there's not enough Tesla service. Like the way they did it where like these things can only get serviced by like shops that are owned by the car company is like crazy. Like something goes wrong with your Tesla, you can't just take it down to the mechanic. You have to do this whole fucking like JIRA ticket with the company you bought your car from.
Seems frustrating.
Yep. Anyways, in addition to the Cybertruck shit show and Elon's increasingly unhinged public statements and the many other EV options out there that are available to people shopping for a car, one of the reasons Tesla is in trouble that we don't really see talked about much is their focus on self-driving technology. Tesla's shareholders might have liked the news about those robo-taxis, but people who actually live in places with robo-taxis seem to absolutely fucking hate the damn things. Mm-hmm. Up in San Francisco, where driverless Cruise and Waymo taxis terrorize the roads, we've seen numerous examples of this. And here's a recent one via Gizmodo.
In February, a Waymo self-driving car was defaced and eventually incinerated by an angry mob in San Francisco's Chinatown. As a video of the incident clearly shows, however, the car's destruction was hardly the work of a single individual. Instead, a wild mob can be seen spray painting the car, striking with skateboards and other objects, and just generally abusing it. Amid the furor, one person shouted, "Light that shit on fire!" Well, someone eventually did. At some point, someone had the bright idea to throw a firework inside the car and watch it go up like a Roman candle. San Francisco Standard now reports that a SFPD arson task force has identified a 14-year-old as the suspect who threw the firework and lit the car on fire. The teenager was identified as the result of a search warrant recently served at his residence, and the district attorney's office has now filed charges against them. Due to their age, the person has not been publicly identified, and probably won't have.
Yeah, you're a child. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Probably not gonna.
A couple years in juvie, maybe.
I don't know. But
I love that it was a mob. Like, this is like if you asked Mark Andreessen, he would describe this as a lynching. They lynched that self-driving car.
Well, it's like when that robot showed up in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a real robot. It was just a bunch of fucking trash stapled together to look like a robot.
Did you see the recent video of someone tripping up a Waymo car because they were wearing a shirt with a stop sign on it?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's like, the car comes up and he's like, and then it like immediately stops.
I mean, that's probably, we're all going to need to walk around with like stop sign reflectors just like all over us.
Everyone's going to they're going to work red octagons into fashion.
Yeah.
So that cars don't just mow you down at every corner.
Damn. Yeah, that's the only way you can stay alive on these streets.
Yep. I'm a walking stop sign.
But yeah, it's not just robo-taxis though. Turns out people in general just do not trust self-driving technology. Back in February, Forbes published a study based on polling of 2,000 Americans, and they asked questions like, what feeling most accurately describes how you feel about self-driving cars? 27% were skeptical, 18% were concerned, 13% were afraid, and 9% were overall negative. That is 67% on the negative side versus 24% in the positive camp. asked what aspect of self-driving cars concerns you the most, just 7% had no concerns versus 36% for safety, 27% for technology malfunction, and 9% for reliability. And asked, how trusting or untrusting are you of self-driving car technology? 46% were either very or somewhat untrusting versus 34% who were either very or somewhat trusting. And specifically, just 12% were very trusting. We'd assume you'd have to be very trusting if you were going to pay the $99 a month for Tesla's full self-driving capabilities that they've hyped up so much.
The increasing public understanding that terms like full self-driving and autopilot don't actually mean what they say they do probably doesn't help either. Especially when you see news that makes you not only not want a Tesla of your own, but also makes you want to steer clear of any Tesla that you see on the road, unless you really need to get over. And then you have to understand that the car has to get out of your way. I mean, the robot is going to make room, so you might as well just barrel over in front of
I've always wanted to be a part of someone's trolley problem.
For example, though, back in February, Consumer Reports tested Autopilot after Tesla patched it in a recall and found it was still alarmingly unsafe. And this week, a guy messing around on his phone while using Autopilot killed a motorcyclist. Here's Gizmodo with more on that.
A 28-year-old motorcyclist died in Washington state on Friday afternoon because a dipshit Tesla driver rear-ended him at speed. A Snohomish man, 56, was commuting in his 2022 Tesla Model S when he activated the car's camera-based advanced driver assist system and, according to his statements to police, began looking through his phone. With nobody paying attention to the car's actions, the Tesla software ignored Jeffrey Neeson in his motorcycle and continued on at speed. The car rear-ended the two-wheeler, Neeson was flung from the bike, and his life ended pinned underneath the electric car, where he was still lodged when police arrived to the scene. The Tesla driver, who told police he was putting the trust in the machine to drive for him, was inattentive to the road in front of him and was only brought back to reality when he heard a bang as the car lurched forward. The driver was not impaired by drugs or alcohol, though he admitted to having an alcoholic beverage prior to the 3:54 p.m. crash.
Horrific.
The car can drive itself. I don't know what you want me to do. I had text to write. I had candy to crush.
There are a number of reasons why Tesla is struggling as of late, but Tesla isn't the only Elon Musk company that's struggling. When Elon rebranded Twitter to X, the pitch was that X would be the everything app. But so far, it's still mostly just Twitter with a few extras tacked on for people who pay. One aspect of the everything app that at least started out notably was X videos, which is still a very funny thing to say. And that was, Tucker Carlson joined it after being fired by Fox. But it's been nearly a year and Tucker Carlson is still pretty much the only X show. Apparently there's others, but we haven't heard of them, nor do we see them anywhere on the website.
There was supposed to be a Don Lemon show, but that one got canceled before it started because he made Elon sad.
Also, I guess you could technically at this point count Mr. Beast because you cannot open the app without seeing a fucking Mr. Beast video.
I mean, those are ads.
Sorry, Mr. Boss.
Those are undisclosed ads.
Yes.
Speaking of which, where the fuck is the FTC? Do your job.
So X isn't what anyone would consider a video platform, but they're still pushing that line for some reason. So here's Engadget.
X just announced a smart TV app for streaming video. Or more accurately, that it claims it's building one, with absolutely no launch date mentioned. The appropriately named XTV wants to be your go-to companion for a high-quality, immersive entertainment experience on a larger screen. By high-quality entertainment, X likely means that one Tucker Carlson video where he's really impressed by grocery carts in Russia. That's not a joke. Carlson is featured prominently in the little teaser video. Ex-CEO and marketing robot Linda Yaccarino promises real-time content and wide availability. But other than that, details are scanter than scant. There's some corporate speak nonsense about AI, of course, and boasts about effortless casting from a mobile device to a TV. Wait, I thought this was a TV app. So it's also a mobile app that casts to a TV? Is there another word for less than half-baked? Does raw work? In other words, we don't know much. This is X. All we get are word salads that don't really mean anything, and then one day the app may or may not actually appear. If it does, it's likely to be hopelessly broken. That sounds harsh, but there's plenty of proof-laden pudding to go around. We got receipts.
And again,
I love that, Engadget is not known to be, especially snarky. I love they're just no, not having it anymore.
This is like having a 4chan video app.
Yeah, fuck off. And the ad for it's so funny. The home screen they show, it's literally half the videos are Tucker and half the videos are official, just Tesla, commercials.
You can watch SpaceX on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
wow. It all happens on X videos.
Also, like maybe Linda or anyone hasn't done any screencasting or anything. It is so fucking simple to do that already.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just add a cast function to the X app if you really wanted to be able to watch a video on the TV.
Yeah.
Feels like that would be a lot simpler than creating a whole TV/mobile app
what they're
specifically for that.
They're trying to, the nostalgia of getting people together, like in the early 2000s where everyone would gather around the family computer and watch Rotten.com together.
Yeah.
Just various snuff films and pornography. They're trying to recreate that magic for a new generation.
Yeah. Grandpa's been so much happier since Tucker Carlson wasn't on Fox News, but now we can give Grandpa the lean back experience he's been yearning for this last year.
Yeah.
And start the yelling. Bring back the yelling and the hostilities at Thanksgiving by
can't wait
sending the Tucker Show onto the 80-inch flat screen.
And this year in particular, nothing better than a Thanksgiving after an election. God. You gotta love it, folks. But let's move on to AI. Here's something new to add to the ever-growing list of ways that it's making everything worse. Axon, the company behind the Taser, has announced a new generative AI tool for police departments called Draft One, which it claims will automatically write up police reports based on body cam footage. So cops can spend less time writing, more time patrolling. How could this go wrong? Especially with a simple name as harmless sounding as Draft One. Surely nothing's going to go wrong with something titled Draft One.
Yeah, it's a first draft.
Yeah.
Which means it's the final draft.
Here's futurism.
It's kind of a nightmare, Electronic Frontier Foundation Surveillance Technologies Investigations Director Dave Moss told Forbes. Police, who aren't specialists in AI and aren't going to be specialists in recognizing the problems with AI, are going to use these systems to generate language that could affect millions of people in their involvement with the criminal justice system. What could go wrong? He pondered. Axon claims its new AI, which is based on OpenAI's GPT-4 large language model, can help cops spend less time writing up reports. If an officer spends half their day reporting, and we can cut that in half, we have an opportunity to potentially free up 25% of an officer's time to be back out policing, Axon CEO Rick Smith told Forbes. But given the sheer propensity of OpenAI's models to hallucinate facts, fail at correctly summarizing information, and replicate the racial biases from their training data, it's an eyebrow-raising use of the tech.
We need to get more free time so these cops can get back on their Candy Crush.
Yeah. But one thing someone pointed out with this too is like not only do you get the hallucinations and the things that are just wrong, which Axon is just like, yeah, that's why it's called Draft One. Then the cops go over it and we're correcting mistakes. It's like, no, you're giving this. Cops hate doing paperwork. There's going to be like, fine, a machine did it. I'm never looking at this shit ever again.
Yeah, and I'm also not culpable. Like, the machine did it.
And then when inevitably the hallucinations and inaccuracies end up in a courtroom being used against someone, and are revealed to be false, the cops can just be like, oh, that was just hallucinations. Or even if it was something that wasn't hallucinations, the cops can just blame it on the software.
The AI will literally be digitally planting drugs.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's great. Also, similarly alarming, the U.S. Air Force just announced that they've successfully conducted dogfight tests with AI-operated fighter jets. Here's The Verge. After carrying out dogfighting simulations using the AI pilot, DARPA put its work to the test by installing the AI system inside its experimental X-62A aircraft. That allowed it to get the AI-controlled craft into the air at the Edwards Air Force Base in California, where it says it carried out its first successful dogfight test against a human in September 2023. Human pilots were on board the X-62A with controls to disable the AI system, but DARPA says the pilots didn't need to use the safety switch at any point. The X-62A went against a F-16 controlled solely by a human pilot, where both aircraft demonstrated high-aspect nose-to-nose engagements and got as close as 2,000 feet at 1,200 miles per hour. DARPA doesn't say which aircraft won the dogfight, however.
So that
it was Maverick.
The last part is a tiny bit reassuring. I feel like if the AI won, they'd advertise that fact. And yeah, I still haven't seen Maverick, but isn't this like the entire plot of Maverick?
You know, I can't remember. Great movie, though.
I assumed it was something like this, but
no, it's pretty straightforward as I remember. I think they just go disable someplace and then they're back.
Yeah, the enemy.
Yeah, yeah. They're very ambiguous.
The enemy is attacking. We need to do something about the enemy.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on now to the relatively more trivial aspects of why generative AI sucks. Last summer's WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes successfully averted some of the worst AI use cases for Hollywood. But Hollywood is still looking to use AI to cut corners wherever they can. And we recently saw two just bafflingly dumb examples of this. So over on Netflix, where the true crime documentaries flow like wine, a recent one called What Jennifer Did is all about how surprising it is that a normal, happy young woman hired someone to kill her parents. And to illustrate this, they show pictures of Jennifer just being a normal, happy young woman, some of which are clearly AI generated. Like, what the hell is this? What is going on with her fingers? What is all that shit on the refrigerator?
No wonder she was upset after a while.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too if my hands were all fused together and their only pictures in my house were just like abstract fucking smears. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd kill my parents.
That's a joke. Meanwhile, A24 apparently seems to really want to shake their image as the one studio that consistently values art.
Got to get rid of it.
A bunch of recent promo images for the movie Civil War are clearly AI generated to an annoyingly obvious degree. Rather than use stills from their most expensive movie ever, they used AI to create images showing armed soldiers and destruction at various notable locations in the U.S., like San Francisco's Palace of Fine Arts, LA's Echo Park, Chicago's Marina Towers, and New York City's Washington Square Arch. And they got a lot of those wrong, too.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
The Echo Park one is just like...
That's what I'm saying.
Visually wrong.
Yeah, none of these... If you actually have been to these places, it's not... You're like, well, that's not what it fucking looks like.
Yeah. Now, at first glance, these are passable promo images, unless you, again, actually know these places firsthand, in which case some of these details are maddening.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you know what the downtown LA skyline looks like, and you know there aren't houses on Echo Park Lake, or you know that Chicago's Marina Towers aren't on opposite sides of the Chicago River, then you know that an AI made these images. And it makes you lose respect for a film studio that up until now has respected artistry. Just why do this? Also, I'm glad I saw it after I saw the movie because it would have made it harder for me to go see the movie. And I liked the movie.
I still haven't seen it, and I probably won't. Just too many people whose opinions I care about are just like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It's
I'll spend my money in some other. I'll watch it when it's streaming.
It's a very. I just think that people thought it was going to be something different, much like Oppenheimer. They just thought it was going to be a different movie. But what it does is it show you very bluntly what the horrors of what actual war looks like and what it could look like here at home. A place that has luckily so far been spared in the modern era from such things.
But aren't there there's shots of destruction and action in this movie, right?
Yeah. So
why not use you have the footage. What are you using AI for?
Because they probably look the basic answer is they probably just outsourced the promo material to someone who doesn't care.
Yeah. No, it's fucking embarrassing.
It is.
It's a self... What are you doing?
Yeah. Big
completely
self-owned.
Unforced error.
Yeah. But it was part of the AMCA list. I didn't pay extra to go see it. It was just part of the thing.
Yeah, also military people are mad because they're looking at... There's uniforms and guns and vehicles in these pictures and what is this?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for Tech News Day this week. No sponsor. You're the sponsor. Click the join button if you want to, if you're feeling frisky. If not, just click the like button. That's all we ever ask. Maybe leave a comment, reply to a comment, do all those fun engagement things. They really do help out. But yeah, if you want to click the join button, we'd like that too. Anyways, other videos are going to be popping up here. We got Trump trial coverage. You can check all of that out. In the meantime, we'll be back for Weekly Weird News. Slightly shorter week this week, just because things happen. We have lives to do, and Elliot, you're going out of town.
I'm going to New York City.
So we're all going to enjoy Elliot's little weekend off.
Yeah, I'm going to be trying all the salsa.
No! This ain't pace picante.
Get the rope.
Anyways, we'll be back soon for Weekly Weird News, so don't go anywhere and watch our other videos over here. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.